This is a stimulus update and daily news report. I'll give you the latest of what's going on with stimulus checks. We'll go over this article right here. $1,400 push. Will Social Security recipients get a fourth stimulus check? We'll talk about the latest in the food crisis, supply chain issues, and how inflation is affecting everybody's lives. When it comes to the big $3.5 trillion package, Joe Manchin is cutting climate provisions. He wants to cut other stimulus provisions as well. I'm going to play a video clip from the White House in response to Joe Manchin, as well as a video clip from a Republican calling it the Build Back Broke plan. I'll give you some other more important updates as well. Then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So soaring food prices drive hunger around the world. It's a serious problem in certain countries. In the US, it is a big problem as well. So food prices rise outpaced by US inflation rate. So what's going on here is meat prices. In September, food prices were 4.6% higher than a year ago. And then it's also saying the US inflation rate was 5.4% in September compared to 5.3% the preceding month. So we were told that this high inflation rate was transitory, it was going to go away. It's not going away anytime soon. It is actually getting higher. For people on fixed income, it's affecting them the most because with higher food prices and the same amount of income, something's got to give, and a lot of people need a lot of help. So one thing here, they're saying there were a factor in previous monthly increases and remained 24% higher than a year ago. The energy index rose 24.8% over the last 12 months, and the food index increased 4.6% over that period. So prices are continued to going up, and it's affecting a lot of other people's lives as well. So higher prices, fewer drivers, food banks exacerbated by the supply chain crisis. So one nonprofit said that a 32-cent increase in the price of chicken drumsticks works out to an increase of about $100,000 a month in cost. So what it's saying here is that chicken drumsticks cost 32 cents more per pound than a year ago, and that if we buy 40,000 pounds per load as product is available, that's going to be $13,000 more per load, which is going to be $100,000 more per month for one food bank. And you can just imagine the cost for other food banks, other shelters, restaurants in general. Prices are constantly going up. So I'll keep you updated on what happens with that. When it comes to the big packages, what the Democrats are doing about passing things. So Democratic leader says House will take up infrastructure social spending plans soon. So we were told the October 31st deadline. Steny Hoyer, who is the House Majority Leader, insists the legislation could be brought to the House floor within weeks. What he says more specifically here is with the short-term extension of surface transportation programs through October 31st, the House will aim to consider bipartisan infrastructure investment and Jobs Act and Build Back Better Act this work period, and noting that discussions continue to move forward. So basically saying that October 31st, it may or may not get done. I'm going to play another video clip talking about the timeline. Also, one of the big things that are holding up the whole thing is Joe Manchin. So it seems like it's Joe Manchin versus everybody, especially in the Democratic Party. He keeps trying to take away more and more things from the Democrats. So Joe Manchin demands climate provisions stripped from the budget bill. Also saying here that here's what Manchin told the Biden team on climate. So he just doesn't want anything in that package. If it could be zero, he would probably be happy with that. So he wants to take out a lot of things regarding energy. And then also Manchin lays down demands for child tax credits. So right now the child tax credit giving $250 to $300 per month. He wants that to be still going on, but he only wants it to go to working parents. Bernie Sanders, Pramila Jayapal, and the other progressive Democrats asked Joe Manchin, what do you want taken out of the bill? We want specifics. Well, now Joe Manchin is given specifics. He wants child tax credit stripped, community college, climate provisions, basically almost the whole bill. He wanted it down to $1.5 trillion, so he might even be cutting $2 trillion worth out of the bill in terms of his requests. Pete Buttigieg, who is the transportation secretary for the White House, warns Manchin of resistance to Biden's climate plan, saying it will cost lives. Here's a video clip of Pete Buttigieg talking more about the reconciliation process and Joe Manchin moving forward.
We're taking steps on that, like my department working with state DMVs to speed the issuing of CDLs, those commercial driver's licenses, so that we can get more qualified, safe truckers on the road. There are a lot of steps that we're taking right now to address this in the short term, but also at risk of repeating myself on something that I've been talking about and the president's been talking about all year. This is one more example of why we need to pass the infrastructure bill. There are $17 billion in the president's infrastructure plan for ports alone. And we need to deal with the long-term issues that have made us vulnerable to these kinds of bottlenecks when there are demand fluctuations, shocks, and disruptions like the ones that have been caused by the pandemic.
Well, Secretary Buttigieg, that $17 billion for ports in the infrastructure bill, I mean, that passed the Senate more than 2 months ago. It's sitting in the House, and House progressives are not going to vote for it unless they first get a successful vote on the larger social safety net bill. Are you frustrated by that delay? Do you think that was a mistake for progressives to demand this other legislation be voted on before the infrastructure bill?
Well, the reality is that America needs both of those pieces of legislation, not only to make sure that we have the right kind of infrastructure, but to make sure that life gets better in this country for people trying to raise children.
Right, but only one of the bills is ready
now.
now.
To participate in the workforce. And obviously, we need both of them to be ready to get to the president's desk and to be signed. You know, earlier you cited Moody's, the Wall Street firm, analytics firm. And one thing that has not been talked about enough is their finding about how the overall Build Back Better vision is designed to reduce inflationary pressures. So if you care about inflation, you ought to care about not just the supply chain issues, not just the infrastructure things I work on, but also the provisions in Build Back Better, like paid family leave, like making it easier to afford childcare, like community college, that are going to give us a stronger labor force and help us deal with that major constraint on economic growth.
A key climate change policy in the Democrats' reconciliation bill, the social safety net spending bill, the clean electricity standard will likely be dropped from the final deal because Senator Joe Manchin says he can't support it. You supported a clean electricity standard during your campaign. How disappointed are you that this potentially will not be in the bill?
Look, the administration and the president are committed to bold climate action. Exactly what legislative form that takes is what's being negotiated right now. But the bottom line is we have to act on climate for the good of our children and, by the way, for the good of our economy. I view this as kind of like a planetary maintenance issue. The longer you take to do something about it, the more it's going to cost in livelihoods as well as lives. We need to act. The president has led on this literally from day one, rejoining the Paris Climate Accords. And of course, while my piece of it, the piece I work on most in transportation, is a specific limited piece, it's a big one when it comes to making it more affordable and easy to drive electric vehicles in this country and dealing with carbon in other sectors of transportation. We've got to get this done. Our future depends on it.
What are your thoughts on what Pete Buttigieg had to say? Do you agree, disagree? So I want to give you multiple perspectives on this channel. So here is a video clip from Representative Wenstrup talking about how the Build Back Better plan is the Build Back Broke plan. Here's the Republicans' perspective on what's going to happen moving forward.
Welcome back. Democrats returning to Capitol Hill this week. They are facing a looming October 31st deadline to come up with an agreement on their spending bills. It is unlikely we will see a vote on the 31st. They want to pass the bipartisan infrastructure package and the reconciliation bill before Biden's upcoming trip to Europe at the end of the month. I spoke with Congressman Ro Khanna yesterday, and he pretty much moved the goalposts on when that vote might take place. Do you think you're going to get a vote on October 31 for this?
We will get a vote before the end of the year. I'm hopeful it will be by October 31st.
Joining me right now is Ohio Congressman, House Intelligence Committee and House Ways and Means Committee member Brad Wenstrup. Congressman, it's always a pleasure. Good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Your thoughts on where we stand with this spending package? I know that the Democrats are trying to convince Senators Manchin and Sinema to go along with the package. How do you see things?
Well, no matter how you slice it, what they're proposing is it's not a Build Back Better plan, I can tell you that. It's a Build Back Broke plan. Because even if they cut the spending, which I think would appease Senator Manchin, you're still going to have taxes in there. You're still going to have programs in there that sound good and are supposedly going to end at a more quick time than we would expect. But as Ronald Reagan said, these last forever. You never get rid of them. And so these are going to be a long-term problem. You know, I think as we look at bills, we should say, does this make Americans more free? And will the next generation say thank you? And I don't think we're seeing that here. We're still going to be contending with inflation, unemployment. We got products sitting at ports. The taxes make us less competitive. You've talked about supply chain. We cannot begin to resolve our supply chain problem if we are not competing globally, which we did with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And since that time, we had no inversions. You know, they put these programs in place that sound good, but in many cases, they do more harm than good, and they never go away. And you just look at right now with this tax credit for children. I had a guy, a union guy, he's a lineman for a rural electric company. He said, I don't want the tax credit. I want to be able to afford things at the store. I want to be able to fill my car with gas. I would like to treat my family to a steak once in a while. This administration owns all of this, and where they're headed is just going to be more and will compound the problems that we currently face. It will not solve them, and we've seen that. There's already been too much spending. It's time to rail it in.
What do you think about the Republicans' perspective on this reconciliation package and the big package moving forward? Do you agree, disagree? So next up, I want to play a video clip from Representative John Yarmuth, who is the House Budget Chair Committee rep, chairman of the House Budget Chair Committee. Basically what Bernie Sanders does in the Senate, he does in the House. Here's a video clip of him explaining the stalemate with reconciliation.
Okay, so let's talk about the news that everyone's talking about. Senator Joe Manchin, it's basically saying no to the clean energy provision. Is that going to kill everything?
I don't think so. I think, Jonathan, that there is a kind of a renewed understanding, both with progressives and moderates, that we have to get done what we can get done. That taking 80% of what we want is a pretty good victory at this point. And one of the things that I think it's important to realize is one of the things I love about this Build Back Better agenda is that it's all future oriented. These are things that are going to set this country up for a better future, a generation and two from now. So there is, with some exceptions, most of these provisions are things that we don't have to get done next week, but every month, every year that we wait to start action on climate, to make sure that every child at 3 and 4 has a strong educational foundation, those are things that we're depriving some people of benefits that we need for them to have to go forward. But again, it's unfortunate that we're in the situation we are in the Senate. It'd be wonderful to have 65 Democrats there. And so that one person from West Virginia couldn't decide what the rest of the country has.
Yeah, one person from West Virginia or one person from Arizona, Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who is opposed to one of the things, many things she's opposed to, the prescription drug pricing reform. But I want to stick with what you just said about, we have to get done what we have to get done. And part of the issue here is the calendar. On October 31st, the hope is that there will be a vote on infrastructure and social spending. This is something that the Speaker has said. If negotiations go beyond October 31st, don't you, meaning congressional Democrats, run into serious issues of having this whole thing just get derailed because of other deadlines that are coming up, the government funding deadline and the debt ceiling on December 3rd. And then potentially a new debt ceiling between December 15th and January 8th.
Yeah, well, certainly it makes it a little more difficult, but we've done this before. we do. It seems like we do it almost every Congress and at the end of almost every year that we have this condensed period of hyperactivity. So, yeah, it's somewhat problematic, but again, I think we can handle it.
At this point, it seems like it's just a bunch of words. Everyone's saying it's going to get done, something is going to happen, people are going to be helped, but yet no action is being taken. So I'll keep you updated on what happens with that. When it comes to stimulus checks, we'll go over this article right here. So $1,400 push. Will Social Security recipients get a fourth stimulus check? So this is talking about those senior citizen fourth $1,400 stimulus checks just going to senior citizens who are collecting Social Security. So this is the website right here. This is where you would sign a petition. So they have multiple petitions that they want to send to Congress. So one of them being the $1,400 stimulus check, another one putting an end to the dramatic increases in prescription drugs. So someone actually commented that they did sign the petition and they were notified that there was around 20,000 people who signed it. This was maybe a week or so ago. Might be different. Let me know down in the comments below if you signed the petition, how many people are on that petition. They're not publicly displaying it, but yeah, so this is the emergency senior stimulus that you're trying to push for. If they do get a lot of signatures, I'm not sure what the next step is, which Congress members are going to fight for it or push for it. It seems that right now, in terms of the progressive Democrats, they're just trying to get just the regular basic stimulus provisions in it, trying to fight against Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. I'll keep you updated on that. Also, nearly 3 million people have signed a petition demanding that Congress issue a fourth stimulus check. So that change.org petition still getting a lot of signatures. It's now at 2,930,000 signatures, pushing for a fourth stimulus check for that $2,000 per month to every American. At this point, I don't know about a recurring stimulus check. If things get bad, what the scenario I could see is that, let's say the bills break up into two different parts, they pass something now, and then later on that they're building up this bigger package. Maybe if conditions get worse in our economy with cases, then they might put a fourth stimulus check in that way. But at this point, before the October 31st deadline, I don't see them putting in a fourth stimulus check, but I could be wrong. I would love for me to be wrong with that. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Spencer Swice 12. Are you ever going to make credit card videos again? It's been almost 2 years. I would love to make credit card videos again. I've been trying to figure out a way if I could somehow bring it back to this channel. Do I create a new channel? Yeah, I'm not really sure yet of how to do that, but I would like to make credit card videos again. Hurricane Heather Evans, can we just have a $200 a month? This isn't funny anymore. Yeah, so when it comes to the Social Security increase, that's still nowhere to be seen as well. We haven't seen President Biden talk about his promise of $200 per month on his campaign website for Social Security recipients, so nothing there yet. Video Guy 5 says, any word on student loan relief? Not at the moment. So we heard that there is a deadline for October 22nd that the progressives are demanding President Biden let the public know if he could cancel student loan debt via executive order. So that's the latest in terms of student loan forgiveness. We'll find out that date. If it is a yes, probably going to see a lot more pressure on President Biden after that. Next question comes from Mary Bullinger. What if the money in someone's bank account has already been taxed? Does the IRS want to get paid taxes again? So yeah, this is referring to the IRS like spying on people's bank accounts. I don't think they're going to want to be taxed twice, but you never know. If they come up with extra taxes and you say, oh, I don't have any money to pay taxes, then they're like, hey, actually, you have money in your bank account that we could look at, and we're actually just going to take that out of your bank account. There's no telling where that will go, but I don't think that the IRS should have access to people's bank accounts. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully brighten your day a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Oh, hi guys, I didn't see you there. Just so you know, you guys are great to me. You guys are special to me. I need you here beside me. And you are so nice. Do you know why? Cause you're so nice right now.
Thank you so much for watching. Here's a couple more clips from the kids. Yesterday, we just relaxed. We did laundry, just hung out around the house. We did some other busy activities before, so yeah, we just wanted to relax. Hopefully you had a great weekend, got some relaxation in for the upcoming week. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here for my other channels or down here for more stimulus updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.